everybody, welcome to Wild Boy Movies, the place to talk movies, and today we're gonna be reviewing Scream 2, the sequel to what probably is the biggest horror movie of the late 90s. Right now I'm gonna have some information up on screen for you to read, like director, runtime, and PAA rating. All of that will be up on screen for you to read right now. But be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and comment down below your thoughts on Scream 2. But without further ado, let's get right into the pros. Alright, starting off, I really like how the sequel is still self-aware and meta like the first movie was, where this time around they're covering the idea of horror movie sequels, and I also really like the rules that Randy gives for a horror movie sequel where the body count is bigger and those kills gotta be even more bloody and gory. Like, I really like that social commentary on like horror movie sequels, and that's one of the things that I really like about the Scream franchise, is that they're meta with the horror movies that we get, and that's one of the things that I absolutely love about the Scream franchise, and I really like how they went ahead and did that here again for this second Scream movie. And I also like that in the sequel, we are following most of the same characters that we followed in the first movie, mainly the trio, Sidney, Gale, and Dewey, and Randy. Those are like the only returning characters from that first movie coming back for the second one, and I really like how they went ahead and continued those characters' stories from the first movie. Like, I like seeing the relationship between Gale and Dewey continue on more, and I also like a lot of these new characters that they went ahead and introduced for this movie. You got Sidney Prescott's roommate in this movie, which I thought was a pretty likable character, and Derek, Sidney's new boyfriend, also really like, although there was like one scene in the movie that I was like, I'm kind of mixed on, but overall, I thought he was a pretty good character. And yes, I was referring to that Top Gun reference scene. And then you also got these other characters as well, like Mickey, which I really like the character of Mickey, mainly because of his ghost face motivations. Like, he's someone that does want to get caught, who wants to be aware that, yeah, he was responsible for these murders, so he could go to trial and blame the horror movies on the reason why he went ahead and killed a bunch of people in this college area. And I really like that motivation for Mickey. Like, it was something interesting for that Scream movie that I really like that they went ahead and tackled here. And that's some great writing as well from Kevin Williamson, who returns to write the second movie, and Wes Craven, who returns to direct this movie. And I really also like the directing of Wes Craven and the writing of Kevin Williamson for this movie. And it makes me even more excited that Kevin Williamson is going to be directing the upcoming 7th installment, and I can't wait to see what he does with that. But I did really like the writing for this second Scream movie. I thought it was done really well, along with the directing. I also like how in this movie they made Gale a much more likable character in comparison to how she acted in the first movie. Because yeah, I did watch those first two movies back to back because I am preparing for that 7th movie coming out at the end of the month. But I noticed a huge night and day difference from the way Gale acted in the first movie to how she acted in the second movie. Like, I definitely think these sequels go ahead and improves on the character of Gale and makes her a much more likable character, because to me, in my opinion, I kind of didn't really like Gale that much in that first Scream movie, but I think it's definitely here where they start to make her much more of a likable character and just be a character that I'm excited to see return whenever she pops back up in another Scream movie. And I also like the inclusion of Cotton Weary, who we got a small bit of mention of in the first movie as the guy that Sidney blamed for the death of Maureen Prescott. And we see a lot more of him in this movie, him after being released from prison after finding out that Billy and Stu were the ones that killed Maureen Prescott. And I like a lot of the stuff that they had with Cotton Weary in this movie. I thought the acting done by Lee Schreiber, I really like that actor's performance in this movie. And yeah, he does also play the Kingpin in Spider-Verse and the Storm King in the MOP movie, but I really liked his performance here as Cotton Weary. I thought he did a pretty good job in that role. And I also like the little like red herrings of, oh, maybe he's the killer this time around. And I do think that, yeah, if he was the killer of this movie, he would have a good enough motive to go after Sidney Prescott. I mean, she said to the police that this guy was the one who killed my mother, and they arrested him, sent him to prison for a year. And I would see, yeah, that if Cotton really was the killer in this movie, he would have like a good enough reason to go after Sidney Prescott in this movie. Like, that's another thing I really liked about this movie is the red herrings that we have in this movie, whether that be, like I mentioned with Cotton Weary, or the little slash on Derek's arm, which is something that I think is pretty clever that Dewey went ahead and pointed out, like, hey, that slash did not cut through any major nerves or arteries, and that seems pretty suspicious. Like, that's something that I really like that they went ahead and did. And again, that is towards the writing of this movie done by Kevin Williamson. And yeah, this is just a lot of the things that I liked about this second movie. And I gotta mention the opening scene of this movie, because to me, the opening scene of Scream 2 might be one of the best of the Scream franchise. Definitely up there, probably at the number 2 spot, because no opening scene will ever beat that Drew Barrymore scene. But I might have a little bias to it because I do really like going to the movies. Like, that is the place that I really enjoy going to the most. And I just love how this opening scene went ahead and went to the movie theaters, showing this couple going to see the Stab movie, which, hey, is also a great addition to this Scream franchise. The Stab movies, which are essentially the Scream movies within the Scream movies. I thought that was a great addition to the franchise and served a great enough thing to use for one of the later movies, which we will get to whenever I review that movie. But I really like the inclusion of the Stab movies in this movie, but the opening scene as well, I really liked. It was pretty great, and I did like the acting there from Jada Pinkett Smith. Like, that opening scene, in my opinion, is top 2 of the best Scream openings that we got of the entire franchise. So yeah, there are a lot of things that I can praise about Scream 2. Like, I think that this is a very good follow-up to that original movie, but there are some things holding it back from being just as good, if not better, than that first movie. So let's just go into those cons. Alright, starting off, I definitely noticed there were chunks in this movie where the characters of Cotton Weary and Mickey were absent for such large chunks of this movie. Like, there's like a moment for Cotton Weary where we first meet him towards like the beginning part of the movie, and then after we first meet him, he doesn't appear again until the library scene, and then we see him a bit more before that final fight at the end where it's the reveal. And for Mickey, we don't really see Mickey from the point after that Top Gun reference that I mentioned up until he was revealed to be the killer. Like, there were just large gaps for when characters appeared from their last appearance to when they appeared next in the film. Like, that was something that I definitely noticed in this film. I also do have a bit of complaints with the Mrs. Loomis character. Now, nothing against that character. I do think that the actress who played Miss Loomis in this movie did a pretty good job in that role, but it's just some of the things that I just can't help but ignore. Like, why go through like this plastic surgery operation just to change your face, all just to get back at Sidney Prescott and get her revenge for the death of Billy Loomis, her son? Like, that's just something that I just don't really know why that was even there. That's just something that kind of bugged me a bit in this movie. But honestly, to me, the biggest con that I can give Scream 2 was the decision to kill off Randy Meeks. Like, Randy is my favorite character of the Scream franchise, just because I feel like that if I were in the Scream movies, I would definitely be more like the character of Randy, just because I do really like movies, and that's something that the Randy character has. And yeah, Randy does have a lot of great moments in this movie and a lot of great lines of dialogue in this movie, particularly that phone call that he has with Ghostface before his death. But I was feeling like they should not have killed off the character of Randy, just because I really like that character. But again, it's kind of mixed, because I do really like that they were willing to go off and kill off some characters that we got in the previous movie, showing that, hey, no one is safe in the sequel, and any of these characters that we saw from the first movie could end up dead. And yeah, I do really like that, but I really wanted the character of Randy to still be alive. But I can't really complain that much, considering that in these latest movies that we got, 5 through 7, we do have a Randy-like character in that series of movies with the character of Mindy, but I still think that they should not have gone ahead and killed off the Randy character, but that's just my personal bias towards my opinion on the character. But look, even though those cons are a thing that I have for Scream 2, I still think that this is a very solid and worthy follow-up to that original movie. So while I don't think that it is amazing and just as fantastic as that first movie is, it's still a really great sequel and really laid the foundation of some of the things I would see in the later Scream movie. And I think they really nailed it with making a sequel to that first Scream movie. So for my scorecard, I'm gonna give Scream 2 4.5 stars, with the score out of 10 being 9 out of 10, with the percentage being 90%, with a grade of A-, with my final verdict being a very good follow-up to the first. But that was my review of Scream 2. I want to hear from you guys. What are you guys' thoughts on this movie? Go ahead and leave me your thoughts down in the comment section. And while you're at it, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video. And have a great day.